If you have even a passing interest in the Nintendo Entertainment System, you've more than likely heard of the initials LJN. They belong to the toy company, then subsidiary to Acclaim, known for publishing some weird and oftentimes terrible games like Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Their reputation is not a good one, even though most of their games were passable if anything. But when they decided to release their own accessory for whatever reason, their well-known image followed close behind. This is the Rollin' Rocker, a third-party accessory for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Getting one of these wasn't so simple as the boxes had it rough, but we're still able to make out the peripheral and logo of this radical action controller that lets you become the directional control pad. I feel more like I'm tripping on acid when looking at this box. All thanks to LJN. It still amazes me that Nintendo would continue to license anything related to this company. They must have had a chuckle when putting their seal of quality on it. Some of the flaps around the sides have fared better than others, like on the bottom we can see an original Sears sticker and a couple kids attempting to roll and rock. See, this was made for kids, not necessarily the kids at heart. The box tries to emphasize that by saying it's for ages 8 and up, but doesn't go into any more detail, instead showing on the back its state-of-the-artness and instructions on how it works. What gets me is their use of the word interactive. They use that to describe all their products, which I assume they combine the words interactive and entertainment, which LJN games only go so far on that front. Also, this sentence about tired, unused cartridges sounds like they were describing their games very cheekily. At least that's how I like to think. But we've looked at this box enough, so it's time to take a look at this monstrosity up close. This is the doll accessory in all its plastic glory, as that's what it feels like with all its grooves around it and a hint of turquoise with a red logo in the middle. Clearly it wasn't meant for your bare feet. LJN expected you to wear your shoes indoors, which is crazy rude to think, let alone a poor design choice. The logo, I will say, has some tude to it. Kinda has that rebellious look to it, or it's just LJN's sad attempt to look cool. Either way, this looks more like a weird-ass frisbee looking at it this way, only when you fling it, it goes straight to the floor with a satisfying splat. Now going back to earlier in the video, I briefly mentioned that this allows you to become the D-pad, and it wasn't kidding. You're supposed to use yourself or your feet as the directional pad instead of using the one found on a common NES controller. You still have to plug in the regular controller into the Rollin' Rocker, so you can use the other buttons at your disposal. Doing that makes this accessory seem to get worse all the time. Out of curiosity, I wanted to see what type of sensors this thing used, and to my surprise, after unscrewing the 3 screws on the back, the turquoise part is what comes off. I didn't find much but one board with 2 chips. Somebody more educated in this kind of stuff would have to let me know how all this works. But to me, this legitimately looks nothing more than a piece of plastic. LJN Toys trying to pull a wool over our eyes? It wouldn't be the first time in video games or inadvertently in the toy market. As I went to plug it in, I was not expecting much, and I thought I'd try the Rollin' Rocker with the few LJN games I have, and to my astonishment, it seems to have worked, like I could move around in the appropriate direction. It's a little finicky, but it worked. Friday the 13th, Jaws, and Back to the Future seem to work fine, and the configuration of the button inputs works flawlessly. Trying to do both at the same time is another story. Imagine trying to do it with your hands and you have a controller meant for Andre or Big Show. I tried additional games just to make sure it wasn't a 3-way fluke. Mario 3 seemed to do okay, but like most games it usually has trouble with crouching. But I was still able to beat the first level, so that has to say something. Punch-Out showed the real problem with a controller like this. The controls are a bit more complex, and I was more often than not dodging or confusing the controls. So I would say the Roll and Rocker is meant more for platforming type games than others. But hell, who knows? Some gamers could make any accessory work with any game. I wonder if I'm having better results because I'm not putting my full weight on the rocker. If I do, I'll more than likely make it snap. Regardless, the Roll and Rocker, to my amazement, isn't a full-blown piece of plastic trash. It somehow works to some extent depending on how you use it. Still, its association with the shit rainbow more than likely brings its reputation down today. It probably didn't do well back then either, but not for the same reasons. You should get it if you see one in whatever condition, as it's pretty uncommon to find, and you can see if it works to a degree like mine, or fails like with all the other nerds. If it doesn't work, what could you do with it? Perhaps you could use it as a paddle or surfboard. Maybe add a propeller. Oh, I think I got a great invention in mind that I gotta patent. Got any fond memories with this controller/accessory? Tell me about it by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, be sure to leave a like. If you think others would like this, share the video around. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button pronto. This is BrianTheBlue, and I'll see you later.